A very warm welcome and good evening once again to everyone. The Minister of State for Finance is here. We are weeks away from budget, so we will not be asking him any questions on budget. But Mantriji, the question that I wanted to really start and to get you to speak about is one of the key things that the Modi government has done in the last several years, which is financial inclusion. And you yourself as the Minister of State in the Ministry of Finance, how would you describe the financial inclusion effort and success and what its result is? The numbers are huge. We have one of the largest daily payment transactions network infrastructure that has been built. How crucial has this whole financial inclusion success story been of this government?
First of all, I congratulate Business Today, India Today and all groups for organizing a conclave for bankers, banking conclave and economic growth. In this evening, the question asked to me is regarding financial inclusion in Modi's government. Before starting the question, after declaring my portfolio, I went and met Honorable Prime Minister Modi ji. And I have asked while discussion, sir, please give me advice. He told me 3 sentences that we have given you a technical portfolio, and in this technical portfolio, you have to work on financial inclusion, financial literacy, and digital transactions. That was his words. Now you are asking me regarding the financial inclusion. The aim of Modi government is banking for the unbankers, securing to the unsecured, and funding to the unfunded. In financial inclusions, we can say there are a number of schemes to include in finances, particularly the poor people. In this, there are different schemes. So particularly, the scheme started for the poor people, or we can say street vendors. Pradhan Mantri Swanidhi Yojana. Before that, I will say Pradhan Mantri Jan Dhan Yojana. I want to give the number. Around 47.63 crores, means 47 crore 63 lakhs. The new accounts are open in the banks. I congratulate all public sector banks and private sector banks for doing a nice work. Before Modi government, before Modi ji's government, if somebody goes to the bank, then naturally he has to fill some number of forms, he has to pay 5,000 rupees and it will take time. But as per the Pradhan Mantri Jan Dhan Yojana, the bank officers went to different colonies, different villages, and they have opened the account. And after opening the account, Pradhan Mantri Swanidhi Yojana, which I was telling to you, this Yojana, this scheme is for the poor people, street vendors. This is a very important scheme where the street vendors without any collateral gets the loan with the minimum criteria. The minimum criteria that is required is he must have his Aadhaar card, that is identification mark.
Right.
Second thing, he should have bank account, and third, he must be registered with local bodies. Not only that, there are different schemes in this financial inclusion. We can say mudra loans. In mudra loans, if somebody wants to do the business and he doesn't have anything to give for the collateral, so he will get a loan without any collateral from, we can say, 0 to up to 10 lakhs. So there are different schemes in financial inclusion, and I'm very much happy to say here the numbers in the financial inclusion, if we see, it is more particularly the women are getting more benefited. Women are also involved in this, and if you see the NPA also, NPA is also less. So this financial inclusion has given finances to the people with creation of the job, with a job good.
You made a very good point about how women have also benefited through financial inclusion, and digital payments have reduced the dependence in many cases where the woman of the house had to be dependent on her husband to give her money. She now is empowered through this. The Prime Minister always talks about the JAM Trinity, Jandan, Aadhaar, Mobile. From a banking perspective, Mantriji, if you could tell us, what is the future? Is the future of public sector banking to open small branches in grams and talukas? Or do you think in the future, rural India, our Grameen population, can also become totally reliant on mobile banking?
One thing is important, as I said, digital transactions, we in the government are always propagating for digital transactions, but at the same time, Government of India and particularly Department of Financial Services is taking care to include all villages and all peoples from the rural area also. If you see the figure, there is 99.96 involvement of the villages, particularly from the bank correspondents where the bank branches are not available, bank Sakhi, and bank branches. Usually there is a lead district manager at the district level, and if there is a demand from anybody to open the bank, naturally we ask him, then the bank takes the survey, and if possible they open the bank. But to have a banking facilities to everyone, if you see the last year's budget, in the last year's budget, it was declared that 1.5 lakh post offices will have a banking services. So, as it was declared in the budget, we from the Government of India has already, the post offices are having the banking services that we have done. So, I want to share with you that hardly I'm saying approximately 200 may be the villages where the bank services are not available. That may be in the hilly area, but almost all bankers, public sector banks and private sector banks, taking care to involve all rural population, and of course the urban population is almost involved.
Dr. Karad, there is another element which is always spoken about. This issue must have come to you also. This is the question about private sector bank versus public sector bank. Public sector banks have had a lot of social responsibility. Many people in public sector banks say private sector banks don't have those burdens. What is the future of Indian banking? Will both coexist, or will public sector banks continue to remain smaller vis-a-vis private sector banks, with the exception of State Bank of India?
For Indian economy, both bankings are important, public sector banking and private sector banks. And the different schemes which are particularly for the agriculture sector or for the poor sector, or the schemes, Government of India schemes, these different schemes are mostly, that is your observation or it is also my observation, are well done by the public sector banks as compared to private sector banks. But we from the Department of Financial Services, we always do analysis. Which private sector bank is not doing well, which doing is okay. So we always take care that the private sector banks also should work as the public sector banks are doing. I, being a state finance minister, I have visited around 21 states. I go there, I see the figure, I take the state level bank committee meeting, and always I instruct private sector banks have to work more, or if you compare that difference is there, but we are trying to improve the different schemes which are for the poor people. Government schemes must be run in the private sector banks also.
आप हमारे साथ आज हैं। एक और सवाल जो उठता है, एक एलिगेशन लगती है कि मोदी सरकार का प्लान है सब कुछ बेच डालो, सब कुछ प्राइवेटाइज कर दो। आपकी अपनी क्या टिप्पणी रहेगी इस प्रश्न पे अबाउट द एलिगेशंस दैट मोदी गवर्नमेंट वांट्स टू प्राइवेटाइज एवरीथिंग?
You only said that is allegation, and I will also accept that that is only allegation. That is not the fact. Only मोदी सरकार और मोदी गवर्नमेंट चाहता है कि किधर भी हो, प्राइवेट सेक्टर बैंक हो या पब्लिक सेक्टर बैंक हो, पब्लिक सेक्टर यूनिट हो या anything from the government of India, the efficiency must be increased. Output, we have to increase the output, and at the same time, job creation must be more. Suppose we take one corporate unit and we take public sector unit, both suppose. If they are having the similar capital, similar things, but the public sector unit is not giving good result, good output, good job, then naturally we try to improve their output, we try to improve the jobs, number of the jobs. तो ऐसा कुछ नहीं है कि प्राइवेटाइजेशन हर चीज में करना है। जो यूनिट काम अच्छे नहीं हो रहे उसका काम कैसा बढ़े, उसी के माध्यम से जॉब और कैसा बढ़े, और अगर कॉर्पोरेट सेक्टर्स में कैसा बढ़े, इसके लिए हमारी नीति है।
एक आखिरी सवाल बैंक्स पे आपसे पूछूंगा कि पब्लिक सेक्टर बैंक्स और एनपीएस के लिए बहुत बारी ये कहा जाता है कि पब्लिक सेक्टर बैंकिंग में पॉलिटिकल प्रेशर है, लोग प्रेशर लाके लोन लेते हैं और लोन लेके भाग जाते हैं। आज अगर आपसे वो सवाल मैं पूछूं तो आप क्या बोलेंगे कि पब्लिक सेक्टर बैंक्स पे वो प्रेशर है कि क्या स्थिति?
See, I can give number of examples of this. This is called phone banking, but this was earlier, before 2014. There is not a single case after 2014 to whom the public sector bank has given the loan and that account has gone NPA and that borrower has run out of India. ऐसा एक भी केस नहीं है। बार बार संसद में, लोकसभा हो, राज्यसभा हो, मैंने इसका आंसर दिया हूं। जो कुछ मुझे आंसर देना पड़ा तो 2014 की केस है। मैं इससे आपको बताना चाहता हूं, आई वांट टू टेल ऑल द ऑडियंस दैट as per the rules or decisions taken by the Modi government, there is no restructuring of the loans except COVID period. But if you see earlier, the restructuring and repayment and freshening of the loan, that was earlier. Now no. And ultimately that hampers the NPA. If you see the NPA of the banks, NPA of the banks was increasing from 2014 to 15, 16, 17, 18. And it was around 11.5 or something, approximately I'm saying. But since then, since 2018, it is now reducing. NPA are reducing, and not only that, why these 4 years are where? Because this was also Modi government, you can ask me. That period was also in Modi government. See, one thing I want to clear, that write up and waive up that word one has to understand. Banks, to make their balance sheet clean, some accounts which are under NPA, they do write off their account, write off. In that case, they do the provision of the similar amount. Suppose I have taken 40 crore rupees, that account is in NPA, then 40 crore rupees we have to provision, we have to do the provision, we have to make it separate, we have to make deposit in the bank. And then after making the 100% provision, that takes 4 years. First year 25%, second year 40%, like this. But after making the provision, then that amount is taken out of the bank balance sheet. And this balance sheet is done for the tax purpose and to cleaning the. Then this is called a write-up. And there is not a single case where the account is waived off. किसी को माफी नहीं दिया है. और as per the rules, SURFACE Act ho, as per the rules NCLT, that NCLT Act or Insolvency and Bankruptcy Code that we have started, our government has started, Honorable Modi ji's government has started. So these are the different rules or different decisions taken by the Modi government, and I am here to share all the audience that all the public sector banks are now in profit, which were never earlier. This is a very good thing. And at the same time, the procedures to obtain the loan has become easy, but there was, I think, some meeting before I became the minister, that is in approximately in 2017 or something. Honorable Modi ji has taken a bank conference or bank meeting in the Pune, and at the same time it was told to everyone that there will be less political interference or no political interference in the bankings. So there is no phone banking, no phone call in the banks for getting the loan, no phone calls to restructuring the loans, and banks are independent. They are governed by the bank boards. Bank boards are able to take their own decisions, and of course, these bank boards are working as per the RBI guidelines.
Absolutely.
So this is a banking. I'm ready. I am really happy to share all these things with you. And our banks are doing very well.
I must just say, as we end this conversation, that in Business Today, we have been doing a lot of coverage on the big banking turnaround, the big turnaround in public sector banks. As we close, my one quick point, Dr. Karad, while your government and you and everybody else in the finance ministry has been saving the banking system and our economy, you as a doctor have also saved people on flights. As we wind this session down, tell us that experience of being a minister in the government and also ministering first aid to someone in a plane.
I remember that day we were busy in the parliament in the sessions, and there was some function in Mumbai, so I was supposed to come to Mumbai, and it was a late night. I was traveling from Delhi to Mumbai, and it was around 1:30 a.m. or 2 a.m. flight. I was in flight. There was an announcement from the air hostess, is there any medical doctor in the flight? Is there any medical doctor in the flight? So I said, yes, I am a medical doctor. She said, somebody is lying, sir, please come, somebody is lying here. He is not responding. Probably he is unconscious. So I went there. I saw somebody was lying there. Naturally, immediately I saw his pulse. Pulse was there. Then he was having excessive sweating. But his pulse was a feeble pulse. Means volume was not good. So I came to know that it is a low blood pressure. So immediately I raised his legs. I asked passengers to help and to keep the leg raised. Immediately he was on the T-shirt. I have taken the T-shirt up and I was starting giving massage to give him a help for the respiration. And after some time, just when I was massaging his chest, his blood pressure came, his pulse became all right, and he started breathing nicely. Then he has become I can conscious. I asked him, are you having any diabetes? He said, no, sir. He started talking. Then just we have lifted him. We have asked him to sleep on the seat. It was a seat number 12
Right.
row. So he was sleeping. Then immediately, there are two things. I, as a medical doctor, I recollect. One is a hypotension. He was having hypotension. Second, I thought it can occur because of the hypoglycemia also.
Yes.
So immediately I have asked glucose water also. He has given the glucose water. I have taken his blood pressure. Then it was normal. I was sitting with for 15-20 minutes. He was normal. He started talking. Then he was sleeping down. Then I went to my place. But I have forgotten also this.
Well,
But the next day, it was an Indigo flight. Indigo management has tweeted that we have saved our passenger so and so because of the help from Dr. Karad, who is a health minister in Modiji's government. And I think that tweet was seen by Honorable Prime Minister. And he also tweeted, he said, it was in his tweet that doctor is always doctor is at his heart. Congratulate my colleague Dr. Karad. That was
Doctor
his
at
tweet.
heart and doctor of banking, if I may say. Thank you very much, Dr. Karad, for taking out this time and speaking with us. Ladies and gentlemen, a round of applause for the minister.